Hello and welcome to a new chapter. This is chapter 6, friction. So this is one interesting chapter. In this chapter we'll study what is friction and what is the importance of friction. So friction, you must have heard that friction is the force which acts when there is a relative motion between two surfaces. Okay, so let me write. Friction is a force which opposes the motion between two surfaces. Whenever there is some relative motion between two surfaces, then friction will try to oppose that motion. Friction will try to stop the surfaces or the bodies to move over each other. So for example, let's say there is this one surface and there is this one object, and this object wants to move. So let's say the object is applying some force in this direction, like this. Then there will be this reaction or the opposition according to the third law of motion, opposition force, or you can say this is the contact force which will be applied by the surface. So in this case we have two components. One component is the normal or the reaction force that we usually call, and the one component will be the friction. Okay, friction. So friction is the force which acts in the direction of opposite to the direction of the force applied by the surface. Now friction is of mainly three types. One is the static friction. One is the limiting friction, and one is the kinetic friction. Sometimes the limiting friction is considered to be a part of static friction, so therefore sometimes it is only considered as the limiting case of the static friction. So sometimes it is stated that friction has two types: static friction and kinetic friction. So you can do it like that also, no problem. So what is the meaning of static, limiting and the kinetic friction? So let's say we have this object which is at rest. Let's say this is a surface and we have this object which is at rest. Now we are applying some force on this object to move this, but this object is not moving. Obviously one of the reason is the inertia, the mass of the object that is there, but in this case let's ignore and say that the force is the opposition is mainly due to the friction. So inertia is there, but we'll mainly focus on the opposition offered by the frictional force. So let's say we applied 2 Newton on this object and the object did not move. Okay, now let's say after a certain time we applied more force on it. Let's say we applied 4 Newton, and again the object did not move. Now let's say we applied 5 Newton force, and this time the object just started to move. So we can put this case in the limiting part. So what is happening? We are applying some force and the object is not moving, and after applying some minimum amount of force the object just starts to move. So this is the example of static friction, the friction which acts on the body when it is at rest. And what is the limiting friction? It is the maximum value of the static friction after which the object will just start to move. Okay, so limiting friction is also the, we can say it is the maximum value of the static friction. So therefore sometimes it is considered to be the part of static friction only. So what, let me again repeat. When you apply 2 Newton, the friction is 2 Newton. When you apply 4 Newton, the friction is 4 Newton. When you apply 5 Newton, the limit was reached and the body can only apply 4 Newton of friction. So the static friction is the friction which is less than 4 Newton. Okay, that is 2 Newton, 1 Newton, 3.5 Newton. And the maximum amount of friction that the surfaces can have is called the limiting friction. Let's say this is 4 Newton. Okay, so what is limiting friction? The maximum value of the static friction. And one interesting thing is static friction can vary. Static friction depends on the amount of force that external force that you are applying. So the static friction will be equal to the external force that you are applying. If you apply 2 Newton, static friction will be 2 Newton. If you apply 4 Newton, static friction will be let's say 4 Newton. Okay, and limiting friction is the maximum value of the static friction after which the object will just tend to move. And what is kinetic friction? Again, this is quite simple. When the object is moving and there is a friction between two surfaces, then that friction is called the kinetic friction. Okay, so kinetic friction is the friction which is applied between two surfaces when they are moving with respect to each other. Now interesting thing is the maximum value of friction is applied in the case of limiting friction. The value of kinetic friction is less than the limiting friction. So you must have noticed that it is hard to move let's say a car, and once the car starts to move, then it is easier to keep it moving. So because of the limiting friction. Okay, the maximum friction is in the case of limiting friction, and when the object starts to move, the friction slightly reduces. Now there is a formula for finding all these values. So the formula for finding the static friction or the limiting friction, I can write static friction to be like this. Okay, F max, and F max is the maximum friction, that is the limiting friction, which is equal to mu s n. So what is this? So this is the coefficient of static friction, and n is the reaction or normal force. Similarly, there is a formula for kinetic friction as well. The formula for kinetic friction is mu k into n, where this mu k is the coefficient of kinetic friction, and again n is the reaction or the normal force. So it is quite simple to understand. So according to the formula, the friction depends on the normal force. The friction depends on the normal force or the reaction force. So this is quite understandable. Why? Because heavier the object, okay, heavier the object, more it will push on the surface, and more will be the push like this on the surface, more will be the bonding, and the friction is due to the bonding or the interaction between these two surfaces. So because of that, we can say that more will be the normal force. Normal force is in the opposition of the weight. So more the weight, more will be normal force, and more will be the value of friction. And when we put a constant in the proportionality to make it equal, then we get a proportionality constant mu s and mu k, coefficient of kinetic and coefficient of static friction. So the value of mu s is more than mu k. Because of that, we can say that the static friction or the limiting friction is higher than the kinetic friction. So it is quite easy to find the value of friction using these formulas. So let's say there is this surface and there is this object. Now the weight of this object is equal to 100 Newton, and the object is moving in this direction, and because of that there is this kinetic friction. So it is given that the coefficient of kinetic friction is equal to, let's say, 2. Okay, it is equal to, let's say, 2. And one more thing, it is a unitless quantity because it is the ratio of two forces, like this, mu k by n. So mu k is F by n. This is a force, this is a force. Okay, so mu k is a constant which has no unit, which has no dimension. So what will be the force of kinetic friction here? So the force of kinetic friction is equal to mu k into n. So what is n here? So in this case n is equal to mg, because there is no motion in the vertical direction, therefore the net force is 0 in the vertical direction. Okay, we can write it like this. So n is equal to mg. So n is equal to 100 newtons. So what will be the value of kinetic friction? 2 into 100 Newton. So that is, the kinetic friction is equal to 200 newtons. So this is how easily you can find the value of the kinetic friction. Similarly, if you are asked to find the value of static friction, then they will give you the coefficient of static friction, and you can find the value using the formula mu s into n. So this is quite simple. Now there are a few important laws regarding friction, laws of friction, or there are this few important points that you need to keep in mind. The first point is, if the bodies slip over each other, the force of friction is given by Fk equal to mu k into n. So we discussed this point. Okay, if the bodies do not slip, then the force of friction is given by mu s into n. So what does this mean? That when the bodies are moving with relation to each other, that is slipping over each other, then we apply kinetic friction. And if the bodies are not slipping, that is they are at rest, then we apply static friction. And what is this? So it means that the force of friction will be less than or equal to the maximum value of static friction. As I told you, for example, the value of static friction is less than or equal to, let's say, 5 Newton. Okay, limiting friction is equal to 5 Newton. So the static friction here is 2 Newton, here 4 Newton. So the value is less than, or maximum it can be equal to, the value of limiting friction. So that is the formula, less than or equal to mu s into n. Direction of kinetic friction on a body is opposite to the velocity of this body, So again, if the body is moving here, the friction will be in this direction. The fourth important point is, this is quite interesting. Friction, whether it is static or kinetic, it does not depend on the area of contact. Okay, so let's say you have a in ideal cases, let's say you have a thicker tire and a thinner tire. So the friction does not depend on the area of contact of the thicker and the thinner tires. So why is it so? Okay, why is it the case? So you can understand it using this situation by the concept of pressure. Let me try to draw the front view. Okay, I will try to draw the front view. This is the front view. So this is a thicker tire and this one is a thinner tire. So what will happen is that here let's say the whole force, downward force, will be concentrated on a small region. Here the force will be concentrated or it will be distributed on this much region. So let's say 10 Newton is the force. So in this case all of the force will be concentrated at this region, but in the thicker case the force will be distributed. Okay, so what is happening is the force is distributed. Because of that the normal force will be individually like this, and here the normal force will be like this. So here what is happening, normal force will be 10 Newton, but here let's say the force was divided into 4 parts. So 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. So the normal force will be equal to 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. Okay, individually. So you understand, you can understand that if the tire is thinner or if the tire is thicker, it does not matter, because the normal force will be the same. Overall normal force will be the same. Okay, so the area of contact does not change the value of friction, because the normal force is same whether you have a thicker tire or you have a thinner tire, because the overall value of the normal force will be same. So these are few of the important points you need to keep in mind while solving the questions of friction. Now the friction coefficients, value of friction coefficients of different surfaces, materials is given. So let me draw that. So this is the table. So you can see that when we have two surfaces which both are of steel, then the value of static friction between them is 0.58. Similarly for steel and brass it is 0.35. that is, if the surface is, one surface is of steel and the another surface is of brass, then the value of static friction is 0.35. Similarly between glass and glass it is 1. For ice and ice this is only 0.10. For Teflon and Teflon only 0.04. So quite less. So different surfaces have different amount of frictions, and because of that you slip more or you slip less on different surfaces. You will slip a lot on ice, but you will not slip much on the copper surface. Okay, so different surfaces have different coefficient of friction between them, and remember this is the maximum value. Okay, the kinetic friction is less than all these values. For example, if the static friction is 0.58 for steel and steel, then the value of kinetic friction will be less than 0.58. Okay, now in the last part of this chapter, let's try to understand the reason behind friction. So what is the reason behind friction? Why does there is a force of friction which opposes the relative motion between two surfaces? So there are two main reasons. One is the irregularity, and the second is the bonding or the electromagnetic interaction. So let's first try to understand the irregularity part. So if I ask you one question, so what is the smoothest surface you can think of? You might answer a billiard ball, some might answer a plain smooth glass, some may answer a mirror, plain smooth mirror. So okay, so these are some of the smoothest surfaces. But what if I tell you that at microscopic level, nothing in the universe can be completely 100% smooth. There is always some irregularity. So you can say that all the surfaces in the universe are rough surfaces. They are irregular. Okay, nothing is plain like this. Okay, there is always there is always some irregularity when you will zoom. Okay, there will always be some irregularities. So first thing you need to keep in mind is that there will be irregularity in the surfaces, all the surfaces. And the second is the electromagnetic interaction. Let's say we have two surfaces, so there will be some electromagnetic interaction between these two surfaces, because both these surfaces are made up of atoms which consist of electrons in the outermost orbit. So what is the reason behind friction? So reason is that whenever we have irregular surfaces, so those irregular surfaces make some cold vents some places, and they just lock each other. Okay, they lock each other, and some cold vents or some electromagnetic interactions are formed, and because of that there is some bonding between the surfaces, and that interlocking and the electromagnetic interaction opposes the relative motion of the surfaces, because in order for the surfaces to move, this lock or this interaction has to be broken. So what is friction? What is the reason behind friction? The reason behind friction is the irregularity of the surfaces and the electromagnetic interaction arising because of the presence of atoms. So if the irregularities are more, that is if the surfaces are quite rough, then the friction is usually more, and if the surfaces are less rough, or you can say a bit smoother, then the friction is very less. So this is the reason behind friction. So with this this chapter is completed, and from the next chapter onwards we will start some angular properties. We have only studied about translational properties. Okay, that is when something is moving in a straight line or in a curve, but what if something is moving in a circle or something is rotating? So we will start that from the next lecture onwards.